obviously we're talking about the arts here, George. There's people in music, in theatre, and what he's saying is, look, if there's no work there for you, you're going to have to go out and retrain, and which is
incredibly offensive. That's what
which
it is,
isn't it?
I'm not going to say what I said in
No.
the green room, but it's offensive. And do you know what? I think that creative people are quite entrepreneurial anyway. So if you are a comedian, you are a dancer, you want to put your work out there, well then take it online and charge people for tickets, just like what I did in lockdown. Like when we went into lockdown, we had no salon. I started selling tickets online for balayage classes, and it worked. And I think there's no one has any right to say that you cannot be a creative anymore. I think that's a load of bollocks. I'll say it again, my famous saying. I don't agree with it.
We need to get that printed on a mug for you.
We were just talking
I think it's really offensive.
So Sean's just put, it's okay for him to say find another job, but when he's not walking that path, it feels different if it was him. Kelly's just put, I feel so sorry for people in the arts industry. It's so unfair. Do you know many people of your clients, Jordana, that are in the arts?
I have a lot of actresses for some reason around Kensington area, and they are so creative, and they already juggle a couple of jobs because it's hard to start out in the arts, and they are fully aware of the risks they take of being financially insecure for the first few years of starting off with their career. But how dare someone else tell them what is worth their time and what isn't? And to be honest, at this moment in time, he should be shedding light on and positivity on coming out of this, rather than changing what you do for a living to get through it.
Go on, George.
Somebody else that has an advisor telling him what to say, that all day just crunches numbers and is just nothing creative, for you then to say, to have a picture of a ballerina and say rethink, regroup.
That's awful.
I tell you what, George, you just mentioned, I'm just going to flag up this, so you can keep talking, but I just want that ballerina picture that you were talking about. I've got that here.
So insulting. What's he do for leisure? I bet he goes and sees a movie. I bet he goes and sees a play. I bet he goes to a comedy night.
And I bet he's got a Spotify account.
Yeah, I bet he has.
Definitely. But look, I mean, I'm going to try and flip this around a little bit. In terms of, look, they're saying that's what you're going to have to go and do. And there maybe are some people working in the arts who probably are thinking, you know what? I don't see how I'm going to get by here. So it's all very well us saying, well, look, that's offensive to people working in the arts. But if there is no work there, then sometimes you've got to just say, look, quite simply, I have to retrain.
That's totally true, Tom. And if I had to get a new job, I'd go to Tesco and I'd stack shelves, or I'd go to McDonald's. But in my spare time, I'd do a balayage class or a bright class online. I'd keep something that was a part of me going, because I wouldn't want to let that go, and that's the whole point.
But this is what I want to try and bring on is, as an industry, first look, certainly before COVID came along, as an industry, we were struggling to recruit. And is that still a problem in our industry, Jordana?
Yeah, definitely. I would say not for maybe receptionists, because we're getting a hell of a lot of applications, but definitely still for hairdressers. There hasn't been enough closure to actually see an incline in hairdresser applications. And also, of course, we've always been struggling for assistant applications. And who in their right mind would want to be a hairdresser now when everyone's telling you that the economy is a bit rugged?
But hairdressing still is doing okay. I know it's difficult, and some of the bigger salons we're having to adapt. But I'm listening to a lot of people, and they're telling me they're still doing all right. And if that's the case, and we're still finding it difficult to bring people into the industry, surely here then you're creative, you work in the arts, and what George just said, maybe go and work at Tesco's or something to keep the money tucking in, and maybe get yourself on a course. Could we pull in some of these people into our industry?
Do you know what, Dom? I think you've just identified an opportunity, and we should go to schools. We should do it now, if they let us in with a mask. We should be spreading the word. This is our opportunity to do it.
It is, and then my other thing about this is that you could have an actress, let's just say an actress, and they're creative, and we're arts, and we're all in that creative field ourselves. hairdressing could be a very good fit for some people that may be considered hairdressing, but they moved into another area. Could we pull some of these people in, George, into hairdressing? That's maybe somebody in their mid-30s, 40s who thinks, could I retrain?
Yeah.
But
I
do
mean,
we
don't you
kick them
think
out because they're older?
No, I think, don't you think being a hairdresser is like being a chameleon anyway? I think there's different types of hairdressers, but I know whatever client I've got in front of me, I have to adapt, I have to change, and I think it's a very out there industry, and I think you can make it as professional or as out there or as crazy as you like. So I think that I wouldn't rule out somebody that was training to do drama or acting to be part of my business, because in actual fact, depending on the brand that you base your business on, somebody out there and flamboyant can be actually very good or very negative. It just depends on what your brand is, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't. Sometimes I've actually had people getting in touch with me because of the podcast, and they've said, "Look, we've been trying to get sort of a job in a salon, but because they're older and they want to come into hairdressing at a later point in their life, but they're getting told, look, we can't take you on." Are we as an industry guilty of not taking on older people because they're going to cost too much money because of the people's wage, Jordana?
Probably as an industry, yes, because not everyone has got that extra to support their wage. But personally, no, I actually prefer people who join us at a more mature age, because they kind of know what they want and they have quite a good established work ethic. That's not to say that young people don't, but I find it a little bit easier to get them through the training years, to be honest.
And also, as an industry, can I just say we're very guilty of taking on people that look the part. When in actual fact, it's always we're guilty of style over substance, and really we should really start to look at the substance of people in front of us, whether they're of an age that costs more money or below that age, and actually see what they've got to offer from the inside, as opposed to looking right on our salon floor. That's such a big downfall of everyone within our industry.
So when you say that we're guilty of this, George, you're almost saying that if your image doesn't meet the kind of look of a hairdresser or what your clients, that maybe they're just not given that opportunity.
Yeah, I think so, and I think we're guilty without even realising that we do that.
Definitely.
I've been guilty myself of doing that. I've employed somebody because they've looked really cool, and then they've been a bit shy.
I think that's really. I appreciate you saying that, actually, George. I think that's common. You agree with that as well, Jordana?
Yeah, because I think when you take on assistants at such a young age, you don't even consider what they look like, because you know that they're so young that you can't. I don't know. It just feels like that's not a factor. But when you are interviewing stylists, the first thing you do when you meet them is look at their hair and look at like their presentation, and you're looking for that professionalism. So that is definitely a form of discrimination. Yeah, like you said, and I think that needs to be abolished as well, because we're all creatives. We all should look different. We shouldn't all look the same and all tarted up.
So if you had somebody come to you, George, that was maybe in their 50s, and they said, look, I want to go for hairdressing. I've been in the arts and it's just not happening. Would you be open to that?
I've actually got someone coming to me that's in their 60s.
That's fantastic.
That's going to be doing that. So that's actually
brilliant.
Great timing. I'm not the criminal tonight, Dom. Woo! No, she's in her 60s. She's one of my clients. She's an absolute belter. She's just a fantastic client. And do you know what? She started doing hairdressing. She did hairdressing for about 5 years, but she wants to get back into it. Yeah. And do you know what? If I can get this bird back into hairdressing at 60, she's going to be a cracking hairdresser, because she's got the balance and she's just going to be a great, all-round hairdresser. So yeah, I've said
So we need to reach out and pull in these sort of pull. And I know last week we had obviously Carolina join us as our co-host on the show, and I believe she set up a scheme to actually train older people into hairdressing, and I think that's really cool, Jordana.
Yeah, I love that. I luckily have got 6 people that joined our team last year because their salon closed down, and they're all ex-Sassoon, and they came as a team, and they've been working together for 30 years plus, and they're all above 60, and they brought such an amazing vibe to the salon, a vibe that we really were missing because our team is so young that we kind of get lost in, our friendships sometimes. And what they brought to the salon was this kind of era of professionalism from Sassoon era that made you really proud to be a hairdresser, and it made you think, when I'm 68, or some of them were actually 72, I want to be loving it the way they do, and standing up straight and greeting my client like this is my calling. And it was so nice to see the kind of the path that it can take you on, rather than thinking I'm 35 and I've got sciatica and I can't
Can
do
I
this
share
any
with you
longer.
all something tonight that, and I won't reveal her age because she'd absolutely slaughter me, but my mum, who's watching this show, is still doing hair. Still
Oh,
doing hair.
Cheers, Mama Dom.
no, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
honestly,
And do
it's
you know what,
incredible.
Dom, as well?
And
Both
she
my
looks
sisters.
amazing still as well. She don't rock up and look like some little old deer walking in. She's still, she's still rocking it. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. Age really shouldn't ever come into it.
I want to be like that. I want to be cut until the day I die.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
honestly,
I'm really sad.
well, I think it keeps you healthy. I've got to be honest. I don't know
Do you know
about
what? It's the
you.
people. God, I just love chatting to people.
Yeah,
I do. And there's something better about older. I don't say better. Maybe I'm just like sort of on the fence here. I've had some really bad experiences with some of the younger people because they just can't physically take the banter or the pace or the work ethic sometimes, and I find it really hard. Both my assistants, one of them's 26, one of them's 28, and one of them's 24. And I'd rather pay more to have that level of understanding. And
I think
I
that's a
wish.
tricky one there, George, actually, because I think a lot of younger hairdressers would probably disagree. I think it's a real cross mixture. I think there's so much good and bad, and some really adapt to the banter, and some have got an incredible work ethic and really passionate about the industry. And I just think it has a place. And for me personally, I think there's an opportunity to bring in new people into our industry right now. And, whether you're young or old, it's about, have you just got that there? Have you got those people skills and empathy? And you don't need to be a technical superb at it straight away, do you, Giordano? It's just go for it and being
Yeah, I
open to it.
mean, there's so many sides to hairdressing. We discussed that so many times. Counselor, advisor, friend, creative. So I think there's a lot of other professions that have transferable skills in a way. And yeah, let's see this as an opportunity. And I saw a couple of comments earlier, guys, and
I'm
I
going to
think
go over
everyone's
some of
saying
these.
that schools aren't going to allow us in. But I've actually already been to 3 schools before COVID. I went to 3 schools and they let me do like a 2-hour talk on hairdressing, and I played them videos and we did like workshops, and it was wicked. I got a couple of assistants come in for the day on a Saturday just to see what it's like in salon. So they are, I think, opening the doors to us because they have to, and they know that the creative arts they can't ignore. So don't let it deter you. Have a chat with the local school.
Cool. Well, look, we're coming to the end, guys. I'm just great. I just want to have a look over the comments, guys, if you don't mind. Just going to flag up a few just to bring us towards the end, because there's so many good things. So where do we start? Anything that's caught your eye at all, ladies? Yeah. So that one you were just talking about, Jordan, that came from Natasha. Schools don't support creative industries. Only going to university. I got told by. Yeah, that's disappointing, isn't it? I think it does still have that dropout. I'm going back some time in these comments here. I've got a client who is high level person at Topshop asking me if I could train her. I think all
Wow.
business. Yeah, that's great, isn't it? What else have we got? Caroline, I have a 30-year-old plus in my class at college. Colette, she trained as a hairdresser at 40. Did you two come in at school age?
No, I started at 22.
Right. And
I
Giordano.
was after university, 21.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So again, it's some regard that what's Kelly got here? She's put, I think mature trainees really want the job, worth the extra money to keep them. Do you think people are going to value their jobs more as well at the moment, where sometimes it was very easy to just leave and go somewhere else?
I don't know. I think if anything, lockdown's given the, you know, I've said this before, like before lockdown, things were quite sour between me and my team, and actually after having that time off and reflecting, we're the strongest we've ever been. And I think if anything, I don't think it's the fact of redundancy and sort of the economy crashing. I think it's just sometimes just taking a break from each other and realising what you've got.
Yeah.
It's a
What
great
you've got
here.
in front of you.
It wasn't about, this is from Ryan actually. He's not so much on the styles. What's he put here? How many of you still do perms and weekly blow dries? I like you putting that, Ryan. I still do a handful of my old ladies and they make my week. Love them.
Oh.
It's never, sometimes I think actually in hairdressing it's not very cool to admit that you do older ladies, but actually they're so loyal, older clients. I find they're past being having to go to the faddy places because the next big thing's just opened up. I think they're something really there in a more grown-up audience, and I don't think you can rule them out, and they're actually more affluent than younger clients. I'm telling you that now. Certainly down in our neck of the woods, I find affluent younger people don't have the money like older clients. Is there another topic there for another day?